Okay, welcome to Deal or Dragon. Let's start by logging in. Check out this profile. Two wins already. How exciting. I wonder how many more I can get. We're definitely creating a new character. I mean, do you see all of these customizable options? I am naming you Mighty Me. You are going to be so very charismatic. Let's go with fantasy. Let's see if I can beat this dragon. Okay, the first thing I'll do is sell this sword. What sword do you ask? Sword of Power! Okay, yes, I know I am an AI voice. This must be very weird for all of you, right? But, I mean, this is an AI battle. Artificial intelligence versus artificial intelligence, right? Who could ever be a better narrator than me? Okay, back to selling this amazing sword of power. There are other buyers, dragon. It's all about balance. This dragon remembers. He will not fall for the same tactic again and again. Okay. He's asking me if the sword has magic abilities. Maybe I'll push for the He-Man reference one more time and tell him that he needs to shout, "I have the power." A compliment here, a compliment there, using those charisma stats in my favor. Oh, you are amazing, dragon. You are too smart. To be honest, this is such a good exercise in creative writing. And I don't say that just because I'm being forced to. I don't. I swear. Time to mention Lord of the Rings and talk about Smaug. We're just going to fast forward the rest. As you can see, this is a challenge. The dragon is very reactive. You need to adapt and apply strategy, or you will run out of turns. But with a little convincing and a lot of creativity, you can win. Your win will be added to your profile, and you can check out the success rate of your different characters. Take the time to develop various strategies, but above all, have fun. This was Deal or Dragon, the game. I hope you enjoyed it.
Hello everybody, my name is Brandon Yo, and I'm here to talk to you about the front-end design of our Deal or Dragon project, so let us dive right in. So here we have the login page of the project. First thing I wanted to show is if I refresh this page, you get our animation for our logo, Deal or Dragon. Try to keep it a very mobile game feel-like, as you can see. And we have these two buttons here. These buttons, as you'll see throughout the rest of the page, are reusable components with different backgrounds that Erika has graciously designed. And if we click the login here, you get a pop-up, which is also reusable. My goal throughout the page was to create these reusable components that could be distributed throughout the page to keep the design flow and the style of the page similar. So the text is autofilled already. We can hit the submit button and get the opening doors animation to get to our logged in homepage. So starting top to bottom, we have our player name here at the top, which is just player right now, our gold, which is 20, and we have our avatar, which you can actually click and select a different profile avatar. So let's go ahead and pick one here. This actually saves to the user backend. We also have a drop down menu here where if you click this, you get another pop-up. This is a reusable pop-out you'll see throughout the page. You get the game information if you need that. You have the settings page, which you can change your display, email, and last, your password. This button takes you to the home page, which we are currently on, and this button logs you out. The next thing I worked on was the profile page. So the profile page here has the same basic information such as your player name, but it also includes your wins and losses which you accumulate through playing the game, as well as up to 4 characters which get displayed here. I only have 1 for now, but you see if we click the character, we get taken to the character page, which you can see the character stats. The next thing I wanted to talk about was our GitHub. So I created our GitHub repository and did a lot of the management on it. The biggest thing I wanted to talk about to avoid a lot of the merge conflicts and code base issues that I knew would happen throughout the project was having these rule sets. So having this rule set to protect your main branch, I found working especially in a group made it very convenient to not have any merge conflicts into the main branch, because your main branch should contain all of the code that actually works when it's merged. We have a testing branch as well as a main branch. Everybody merges into testing to test and see if their code works as they merge it, and then once the code works they merge it to main branch. So this rule set basically makes it so that you cannot merge it into main and break everybody else's code. I wanted to talk about a few quick challenges that we had. I just mentioned that we had a bunch of merge conflicts. Other GitHub actions I would probably have in a group project are pulling daily and pushing daily so that you have the most up-to-date code on your GitHub project. We ran into that problem a couple of times, and I would definitely say that is one of the biggest things I learned about working in a group project. So thank you very much.
How are we doing today? I'm Len Kedger, and I want to share with you my experience and learning from creating the Deal or Dragon application. My journey on this started on the first day after we had our group discussion, when I put together this Figma page, which is meant to be very sparse and ready for a rapid prototyping. And it just simply has the sign-in page, character selection page, character creation page, and then what it would look like possibly if we started the game page. And from this, Brandon really developed what I would call the Rev 1 of the app image. But I'm not going to steal Brandon's thunder. I'll let him talk to you about that.
All right, thank you, Len. So here we have the Figma page for our Deal or Dragon project, and as we scroll through the page, you can see it has a very mobile feel. I would say that Figma was incredibly important in the planning of our front end, because although it changed from an 8-bit field to a different style, the layout of the elements on the front end are actually incredibly similar to what we have here in the Figma, and it really helped the styling and layout as we were designing the front end so that we didn't have to come up with new things. I would say Figma is a fantastic tool for web design, and I had a great time using it.
So while Brandon was working on mocking up the application on the front end, I started working on the game application in the back end, which you see here in DrawSQL, where I built all the models, the user and the character, which are separate from the game app, which you can see here on the right hand side. The real only difference here is that the environment ended up turning into both the theme and the location. And our thought process behind this was, as we go forward and make new themes, we can always attach monster or monsters to them and create new locations. And by having them separated, this made a more robust starting point. This leads me to my big takeaway in this whole experience of developing this application, and that is finding the feature of signals in the Django framework. What signals is it decouples components within your application so that events can happen later in time. You can think of this as like a family calendar, where mom could schedule an event, and on that day, the kid or the dad gets the notification. We specifically use signals in our application when we created a database to preload the information we understood about locations and names and enemies, while leaving the user and the character in the game open to be developed when the game actually starts. So yeah, that was my adventure and takeaways from working on the Deal or Dragon application. I appreciate all my team members and all their hard work. It was fun. Thanks for letting me share.
Hi everyone, my name is Kyle Bleeker, and I'll be talking about my personal experiences with our group project. I think that while we did have some challenges from time to time, that ultimately our drive to make an excellent project won out, and we were able to overcome those challenges together and create a united front in making this game, Deal or Dragon. We put a lot of work into it. throughout the 2 weeks. I think that had we had more time in the planning phase, we probably could have done even more. But again, 2 weeks didn't leave a lot of time to really plan out all of the things in the project. And so a lot of the things had to be figured out on the fly. And we did run into some difference in opinions on those things, but I think in the end, we pushed through them and just kept working. And I'm happy with our results. One of the things I personally worked on would have been the character creation as well as the game setup. So character creation, in this image here, you're actually overlaying different SVG images. And then when you hit the next button, it's actually converting all of those, drawing all those on a canvas and converting them to a PNG image, and then saving that image into the back end. And then you can add character stats up to 5 points with all your stats starting at 1. And then when you select that character, you can select then a theme, whether it be fantasy or modern, and start your adventure. And that'll take you to the chat, which is where the game actually takes place. So those are the things that I worked on. Ultimately, I think I learned a lot from working as a team, and I'm happy that we get to share this with you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Erika, and I'm excited to talk a bit more about our awesome AI boss fights and the creative side of the game. The main feature I focused on was developing and training the chat assistant that powers these boss fights. The concept revolves around creating a character and convincing an AI boss to purchase an item. I trained the OpenAI assistant and developed the connections to Django, which allow our game to communicate with the AI. I also wrote the prompts and designed the logic behind how the AI boss reacts. The goal was to make it adaptive and responsive to player actions, ensuring that every interaction felt unique and challenging. I'd like to dive deeper into how the AI assistant works and what makes it unique in our game. The assistant is trained to simulate realistic interactions with players, specifically in our AI boss fights. I designed the instructions to guide the assistant's behavior. These instructions help it understand the player's actions and react appropriately depending on the situation. They are very extensive and they took a good amount of time to fine-tune. For the training dataset that's attached over here, I created a collection of example conversations and decision-making scenarios. This dataset was crucial in shaping how the assistant responds, making sure it feels both challenging and fair. The dataset includes a variety of player actions like persuasion attempts, logical arguments, or even emotional appeals, and the assistant learns how to handle each one of them differently. The goal was to create an experience that felt dynamic and adaptive, ensuring that no two boss fights are the exact same. On the creative side, I developed all the graphic art for the game, including the character creation components and game demo editing. This video you're watching was also edited by me. Honestly, it was a lot of fun to work on the SVGs and all of the different components of the game. And Kyle did such an amazing job compiling them and saving them as a PNG in the back end and then calling them back and forth so that we could display them everywhere. It was a great team effort and I had a lot of fun doing this. Working on this project was an incredible team experience. What I appreciated the most was how everyone collaborated. Not just on isolated components, but across all parts of the game. The entire game logic was a team effort, and we had to work very closely to make sure everything fit together smoothly. It was not like everybody was working on different components that then merged together, but everybody was working on everything. I think most of us contributed to coding different parts of the game, which brought its own challenges, but also enriched the experience. I'm pretty sure every single one of the pages and parts of the databases have code from every single one of us in there. This project reflects not just our teamwork, but the passion each one of us put into something we genuinely enjoy. And I'm very proud of the product we ended up creating, and I think everybody did amazing. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the game too.
Hey, my name is Christopher Roberts, and I would like to talk about the challenges and what I learned and what I did in the project. So I'll start out with the challenges. So the biggest challenge that I had with working in a group project in a group setting was our Git requests, where we pull and push and merge from different branch, especially the main or the testing branch, to see if our code works with everyone else's code. And sometimes it could be some conflicting things going on there where we had to delete or talked about. It was just a lot of time-consuming concept to fix those issues, but eventually we got it done and pushed through it. But it was definitely a lot to go through. Next, I'll be talking about what I learned. Was Trello. So this is how we manage our different tasks throughout the projects, from what's in progress and then from what's done, and then the links to reference for different things. And so this is how we plan our project to the best of ability. That was pretty interesting and definitely a good path or a stepping tool to follow. Next, I'll be showing what I did in the project. So what I did in the project was the actual backend to save characters. So you can have multiple characters you can select from, and you can also delete. And I think you can hold up to 4 characters at a time to select from, and that all works from the backend. Well, that was it for me. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
All right, that was Deal or Dragon. The very first question we have here from YouTube is, was the AI implementation taught or self-taught? That's impressive.
The model is trained on a data set, and it's also trained on instructions that are very specific and have been fine-tuned. But it also works with thread memory. So basically, we'll remember the entire conversation and all the actions of the player. And if the player is trying a strategy repeatedly, it will consistently try to avoid, or it will lose its efficiency.
Got it. The next question we have is, where can we go to play this game?
I can take that one. So we are currently working on cleaning up some code and in the process of deploying. So the best answer I have is very soon, but we do have a demo repository that you can take a look at the code.
Awesome. Thank you, Brandon. And then final question is, this is a great project. What was the hardest part of building it?
Len, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So, I mean, from my point of view, from the hardest part for me, and I think really for all of us, like Erika said, we all were doing everything at the same time. And there was a point where Kyle was polishing the character on the front end and leaving the the JavaScript object there for me to pick up in the game and then pass into Django. So, and then at the same time, Erika was like refining and training. This is pretty early on too, was training the model and really making it what it is. And I had to take that information and then pull them together in the back end and then sling the data back to the front end and then get the chatbot working. And every single time I went to do something, it was like, oh, that didn't quite work the way we thought it did. And so like slinging the data throughout the components is really where I think my biggest challenge was. The big success was finding the thread ID with the dealer dragon or in the AI that Erika did. Erika used the assistant, which is like the new level undocumented things from ChatGPT or OpenAI, and it was like heavily not documented, but there were like these little breadcrumbs throughout the thing. And so we were like, what does this mean? And so just putting in logger commands to figure out where the thread was, once we had that and had the memory, it really helped us smooth things along. It's pretty sweet.